Okay, good afternoon and welcome to Yeshiva YouTube. Iyun to lean on. Today we're concluding another week of Shulchan Aruch Yomi Hilchos Berachos HaPeiros Simon Ratio 210. One of the halachas today, the first halacha, talks about the requisite amount that you have to eat in order or drink in order to say a bracha achrona. Right? If you're eating it, you plan on eating it, not just tasting it. Tasting it, you maybe wouldn't make a bracha even b'acharishona. But if you're eating it, so if you eat less than a kazayas, or you drink less than a revius, you wouldn't make a bracha achrona. Now, how long you have to eat that kazayas, right? So kind of everyone knows halacha kedei achilas pras. The poskim say kedei achilas pras. This is really a shir we learned by Hilchos Yom Kippurim, right? In order to be chayav um, for eating on Yom Kippur. Kedei achilas pras is the amount of time to eat. Pras is a broken loaf of bread. Literally, if you look at Hilchos, the halachas in Yom Kippur and Bayis Hamanuga and things like that, and Erev Chatzeros, the halacha of pras is half a loaf of bread. Now, if you take half a loaf of bread, right, take a loaf of bread and go to the store, buy a loaf of bread, how long would it take you to eat a half a loaf of bread? Now, there's three different main opinions: 2 minutes, 4 minutes, and 9 minutes. You definitely can't eat a loaf of bread, half a loaf of bread in 2 minutes. Most people probably can't eat a half a loaf of bread in 4 minutes, unless you're Joey Chestnut or something like that. And I would say, I don't even in 9 minutes you could eat a half a loaf of bread. Maybe you had something to dip it in. But 9 minutes, I think, really should be the shear. It's not a makel shear. I think that should be the shear. So if you're eating a kazayas, which is a very small amount of food, an olive, Rav Yeshua says a matchbox amount of food in 9 minutes, you'd make a bracha achrona. The question arises when it comes to drinking, right? You're drinking Sprite, you're drinking Coca-Cola, right? And you're drinking very slowly from your cup. So how long do you have to drink that revius? Revius is more than a kazayas, 3 times a kazayas, 3.3 ounces, according to our Moshe Feinstein, probably 3 ounces, because, 3 times a kazayas is basically 1 ounce. We assume a shot glass, so 3 times that would be 3 ounces. That's better Rav Chaim Noah's shita. But so let's say 3 ounces or 3.3 ounces. How long do you have to drink that? So I mentioned in the regular share that I got a psak. I asked my Rosh Hashiva Yaakov Friedman about this because it's not really clear in the post game. He said, based on Simon Kuf Ayin, we learned earlier, Hilchos Derech Eretz Basuda, 170, it says that Derech Eretz is to drink a cup, a glass, or a vias, in 2 sips. Now, and he showed me exactly how you do it. You take a cup, you go like this, meaning you have to keep the cup fastened to your mouth the entire time. Take 1 sip, go like this, again where the cup is still against your lips. Take a second sip and drink 3.3 ounces in total between those 2 sips. Based on the halacha there, that you're supposed to, the derech eretz, to drink a cup in 2 sips. 3 sips is considered arrogant. 1 sip is considered to be a gluttonous type of person who drinks too fast. So that's the way to do it. That was it was based on. Now, halacha hilchos derech eretz, we went through that simon, and it's a very strange simon. There's a lot of very strange halachas over there. About people taking from the same plate of food at the same time. It's a very strange a bunch of halachas. I didn't really understand it. It's from Hilchos Derech Eretz, which is not a classical masechta. It's a masechta we don't really understand. So all those halachas I take with a grain of salt, literally, and just even if that were true, Hilchos Derech Eretz, the way you normally should drink, Derech Eretz is not a halacha, right? Just like the halacha of eating is kedei achilas pras, because right, you're eating a kazayas, and the amount of time it takes to eat a meal. Generally, a person, if they want to consume a meal, right, the amount of bread which would be necessary for people who are just eating bread, right? If you have other things, you don't have to eat that much bread. If you're eating just a meal of bread, probably about a half a loaf of bread sounds about right. That's the amount of bread you would eat to fill you up for a main meal of the day. So think about a challah, a loaf of challah is easier to cut it in half. That's how much a person probably would eat. So you have that amount of time for achila. So the same thing would be for shtia also. Shtia, you drink to accompany your eating usually. So I would say the same thing, that the amount drinking a revius in 9 minutes, just like achilas pras is 9 minutes, and drinking also, most people drink when they eat also. So I would say that also 9 minutes. It doesn't matter. You have to drink 4, 5, 6 times. You can take as many sips as you want. It's very normal. Especially here, you have a 12-ounce cup over here. I take 100 sips out of this coffee. I mean, it is a little warm, but that's normal. People sit at a meal, they even have a big cup. Then they don't drink a cup in two gulps. There's no one. Even when you have 7-Eleven, they have the big gulp. right? No one drinks the whole thing. They opened up 7-Eleven here in Israel. So I mentioned a cute story in the regular share about a date where I applied. Rak Freeman had told me I had applied his psak halacha even when drinking from with a straw, a water bottle. I had a water bottle on a date. I was drinking with a straw. I tried to do it, and I got so distracted because I couldn't drink 3.3 ounces, or I think it was maybe Machar for the Chazon Ish who says a Reviz is 5 ounces. I was trying to drink 5 ounces in 2 sips of the straw, and again, you have to constantly the straw has to be in your mouth the whole time. So it was kind of hard, and I kept on trying to do it, and I kept on, you know, feeling or being misupok. I wasn't sure if I had drinking the requisite amount, drunk in the requisite amount in the right shear. So the whole date I was just distracted because I didn't want to make it obvious that I was doing this. And the girl, obviously is trying to tell me about her family and how she grew up, and her family used to sit around the table reading Mishpacha magazine. Don't know. The girl from Far Rockaway. I remember that they had I don't know why I remember this. There was a girl from Far Rockaway, and they had outside her house. They had um, it was like a mailbox, especially for Mishpacha. It said Mishpacha magazine, yellow mailbox, Mishpacha magazine. They put the Mishpacha magazine in there. This is many years ago, like 20 years ago. It was a yeshivish family because I come from a modern Orthodox family. Yeshivish people were hesitant to go to let their daughters date me, but this person did. We did not agree on anything. Like we did not see eye to eye on anything. Like after 2 days it was over, especially after this fiasco. I mean, it was funny because it ended up. If it was ended because she ended it because she saw that I wasn't with her because I would, or there's a red flag because I was just too overwhelmed with trying to make sure I could say a bracha achron on my water. Whatever the reason, it was over. Maybe it was due to that. Maybe it wasn't due to that. We just didn't see eye to eye on anything. But it turns out because I was firmer than her, even though she grew up yeshivish, I didn't. Anyway, my point is the whole reason I'm saying it's a cute story, but the reason I'm saying this is nowadays I believe legitimately that you have 9 minutes for a revius, drink a revius, just like a meal. At a meal you have 9 minutes to eat because I has a matchbox of food, 3.3 ounce. If you want to say 3 ounces, I would say 3 ounces of a drink. Even if you drank 1 ounce and then 7 minutes later you drank 2 ounces, it would be okay. It would join together. Hope you enjoyed today's share. See you in the next one.